Good evening, CAM followers, and welcome to Dr. Mary, all the way from over the pond. So it's lovely to see you. This evening we'll be discussing how will I know when it's time to say goodbye. I know a subject which is difficult for everyone to talk about, but hopefully Dr. Mary will be able to answer some questions that you guys might have, and also make it more of a subject that's more approachable to talk about, both for vets and owners approaching their vets. So I'm going to start off by just thanking our sponsor, Big Barker Beds. It's one of the only dog bed companies that we're aware of that's actually put their bed to testing to see if sleep actually helps larger dogs with osteoarthritis. So it's great to see a dog bed company actually testing and putting their money where their mouth is and proving that you guys should be using these beds. So thank you very much for all your support. Dr. Mary, over to you. If you'd like to explain a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thanks for having me again. I forget when I was on last, but it feels like not too far away. But so I am a veterinarian here in the United States. I live in South Florida. And for over 13 years now, I've dedicated my life to end-of-life care, so geriatric pets and helping families assess quality of life and in-home euthanasia. So I'm a part of a company called Lap of Love, and we are a group of about 300 veterinarians here in the United States that just provide end-of-life care in the home. So it's been a wonderful niche. I love it. Weirdly, I know I love it because I think it's helping families at the worst time, and they're so appreciative, and they're nervous and scared and sad and all the emotions, and we could be there to help. So that's what I do. And our topic today is something that I am asked every single day.
Yeah. I think anyone that's working alongside animals does get asked this question, or even dog owners asking other dog owners in the park if they've recently lost a pet. How will I know? And I think I've been really excited to do this live again. Like you said, I really like senior geriatric care and end-of-life care. I think it's really important. It's a really important subject, and it's the last thing that we can do for our pets. Mm-hmm. So I think it is really important to make it less of an awkward subject to talk about.
Correct. Yes.
So we will start off this evening. We've got a little agenda. So when someone comes to you and wants to make a plan for end-of-life care, what route do you go down? What would you suggest for people?
So, interesting. We live in a very death-adverse society, right? Like nobody ever wants to talk about this, whether it's for a human or a pet. So the majority of people that reach out to us, Evie, do so very late in the game. So they are, hoping that they'll have a sign, and then they don't ever get the sign, or they don't always know, and we're going to have this conversation. But they call us for end of life care, for euthanasia, typically when they need help same day or next day. Yeah. And I wish they never waited that long, because it's like an emergency almost, or very urgent. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to help prepare and have a party if you want, or be alone if you want, bucket list and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And so many people kind of just turn a blind eye in a way of because it sucks what we have to do. Right? Let's just it sucks. So who wants to do that, right? So they call us very last minute. If, though, we can help before that with hospice and just quality of life assessment, things like that, it's so much better, because I think people are prepared a little bit better. They have no regrets. Typically, I see, Evie, the people who have to say goodbye to their first pet wait the longest.
Yes.
It's their right. I don't know if you see that too. It's their subsequent pets. They're like, I waited way too long. Yeah. And also, a lot of people want Mother Nature to help out, and she is neither nice nor fast. And especially with arthritis, Mother Nature is not coming to help, right? So that is something that we should talk about eventually. But people just want their pet to, curl up in their sleep and pass in their sleep. And we have to intervene so often so that way they don't actually suffer. So it's hard.
Yeah. I think people panic because they think, oh, my dog's like coming to the end, but I don't want to go in because I don't want the vet to say that they need to be put to sleep today. So I think a message to everyone is that we do offer palliative care, and we don't want to just put your dog down like that. We are there to provide support, give ideas, like you said, making a bucket list. I think that's a really good idea.
I love those so much. On a very high level, when people say, well, how will I know it's time? Because I want to go deeper to this. But generally, I always say, there's a time where quality of life of the pet is really good. And quality of life of the family is really good. Because I know what it takes to manage some of these diseases and their ailments. Like mobility is not an easy thing to manage in many cases, especially with a bigger dog. But so quality of life for both family and pet is good. I'm not going to suggest euthanasia even like anytime soon. On the far other end, I will see pets that I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to say goodbye. Like this is, like it's pain and suffering that we cannot have any drugs that will take it away except for euthanasia, right? Like there's that. In between is this gigantic subjective time period. Yeah. And almost all the pets should be in that time period, right? Where at any time it's okay to say goodbye. And if you want to say goodbye to your pet sooner when they're actually still doing really well and they're not struggling as much, that's okay. Yeah. Also, if you want to keep going and you want to, do a lot of palliative care and harnesses and ramps and massage and or whatever, just keep them over. That's also okay. What we won't ever want to do is get to that point where they're actively suffering with pain and anxiety and disease or malaise. Like that's what we want. But it's very subjective. And Evie, what you would do and what I would do could be totally different. Yeah. With our own animals. And neither one of us are wrong or right. No.
And like I say to all of our clients, you know your pet best.
Right. And that's the first thing I like people to do is explain what makes your pet, right? So Norin, my little guy here, he's only 7, but what makes Norin Norin? And I know what he gets excited for. I know what he doesn't like. And and I think it's important to look at the things that they don't like also, because if he doesn't care about the mailman anymore, that's not good, right? Yeah. He's too tired to care about something he's passionate about. Yeah. So because I do know him the best. However, Evie, there's a beautiful place called Denial Island. And we can all be on Denial Island. And even though I may know him the best, I don't ever want to say goodbye. And so I can maybe just have denial goggles on and I don't see things. Yes. So that's why I think, evaluating quality of life and doing some of the scales and stuff that are available is very helpful. And it starts with what makes your pet your pet. Yeah. Because when they stop being like that, that is a sign that we need to look through.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do panic, especially with mobility issues. We have a lot of dogs come into our practice and they might have gone off their legs. We'll say a Labrador comes in, has gone off their legs, and the owner just thinks, oh, there's nothing we can do. It's going to be put to sleep. And so they panic and they almost put it off. And it's like, if you came in earlier, we might have been able to do something. So don't be scared of the subject.
Totally. I don't know if I said this last time, but so, I've done thousands of euthanasias, and I'm not I'm sad for the families. I cry with everybody. However, that's not what makes me super sad, because I see that we are saying goodbye to a pet that it's the alternative is not good. Yeah. What really makes me sad is that 50% of pets are not seen by their veterinarian a year before they die. Yeah. 50% of the ones that are euthanized. So, and that's not including the ones that die at home and we didn't even know about. So this is the ones that we know about. And we could do so much. And the sooner we could start, especially with arthritis. Yeah. This is a huge one. The sooner we could start, not only will they live better, they will live longer, but the importance is that they live better longer. and you kind of, but people just don't go because, like you said, they're scared, they're panicked. You have a down dog and you think that's it. And in some cases, yes, it is. But if we could get them sooner, like we could have delayed that. And the owner's quality, people don't realize how hard it is, especially with mobility issues, to manage as a pet parent. Like, it's hard. We could help you.
Exactly. And I can put my hand up, and anything that happens with my dogs, I'm immediately like, no matter what, I've got a wide range. I've got 5 dogs. The youngest one is 3 and the oldest one is 13.
Okay.
And even if the 3-year-old was to come with me with her paw hanging up, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to die. I'm going to have to have her put down. Like, I just panic. I can understand where owners are coming from.
Totally.
I feel like us as professionals are there to kind of help ground you and see it from different perspectives.
Totally.
We do care. A lot of people say to you, oh, I don't know how you do this. We care so much. We love your pets as well.
This is why we do it.
Yeah, which is
right. It's not because of money. It's because we care so much. So I get it.
Definitely. So answering the question of the title, how will I know when it's time to say goodbye? Obviously, you said using quality of life tools.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to go a little deep on this, Evie.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Go for it.
So there's I already talked about the subjective time period, which is just important for everybody to know that there's no judgment. So if you call your veterinarian and say, I had the worst weekend ever and it's horrible and I want to say goodbye and it's Monday, then if they're in that subjective time period, I support their decision. If they call me on Monday and said, we had an amazing weekend and that's how I want it to be. I want it to be, I don't ever want to see a bad day again. I support their decision. So I think it's really important to know that, like, I would much rather, as hard as it hurts my heart, say goodbye a week too soon than a day too late. Because if you wait too long, that you will always have some regrets. So that's where I think having a good quality of life discussion is important. And at Lapo Love, we actually have a tele-advice team that just does quality of life assessments with families. So there's a few things that I am going to look at, though, and have a conversation with the family about. And so I'll run through the 4 of them quickly, and then I'm going to dive deep into each. First is the pet's personality.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to look at we're all different. So the owner and their what they want to do is maybe very different, right? So the owner's quality of life is going to be different. So the disease they're managing, the family. Then there's these budgets in life that I want to cover, like all the different budgets, because there's not just the financial budget, right? So really the pet's personality and how they're managing their disease can be very different, right? So if and let's just talk mobility, because I could go on for hours if we're talking about like everything out there, right? But this is canine arthritis management. So let's talk about arthritis and mobility issues. There could be some dogs that love to go to physical therapy, that are great with their medicines and they take their pills, that are really good with their exercises, whatever, are fine in a harness, are good in a wheelchair. The list goes on. And they're not anxious because they can't move like they used to, let's say, right? So they're handling their ailments okay, right? They're handling them well.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you could have a dog that's got high anxiety also, and they're anxious because they can't go run and play anymore. They don't like the wheelchair. So my guy Norin, he is a high anxiety dog. He can't go to a rehab facility. Like he would want to kill everyone. So he can't go. It would stress him out more going, right? I had one dog that she hated the harness on her, just the feel of the harness, and that really upset her. So, and if we're giving medication, some dogs take it like a champ, while others, you're chasing them around the house, and that's not good either. Like, we want to make sure that the human-animal bond remains, good, because that's, that could be challenging, and I don't ever want a pet to be not wanting to be with their family because they're nervous they're going to get a pill chased down them, right? So, but there's a lot of things that we could do with compounding and just, and treats and stuff like that to get them into it. So how the pet is managing their specific, disease and it's, I know we're going to talk about arthritis, right? But when has any pet just had one problem?
Yeah, never.
Never, right? So now we're probably looking at a dog that's got incontinence, and we've got that, or maybe some vision issues, maybe a little cognitive dysfunction. So you're adding on a lot of stuff. You're not just typically normally dealing with just arthritis.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of other things. And so they may be okay with their mobility issues, but their vision is making them stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Then, for people, everybody is so different, right? So you and I have already said, you and I are totally different. You may have, your belief system might be totally different than mine.
Yeah.
Every family I go into, the partners are never in agreement.
No.
So husband, wife, husband, kids.
Yeah.
Nobody ever has the same agreement. So it is hard to get onto the same page. And so I have to, I kind of have to respect that and manage everybody's expectations and what they feel is suffering, what they feel is quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really important, is to say, what does quality of life mean to you? And what does quality of life mean to you? And because everybody's going to be very different, right? So so my partner, incontinence, he cannot handle incontinence at all. He's like, nope. For me, I'm like, I'll just clean it up.
Yeah.
No big deal. But to him, he's like, no way. And he also, there's a word called anthropomorphizing. It's a big word that basically says, like, we take on we're putting human traits onto a pet. So he's like, if I ever had incontinence, I don't want that, right? And I'm like, well, Sam's fine. Okay. So the beliefs of the family, how the pet's personality are, I want to have a good conversation about that.
Yeah.
And also the ailment that the pet has and how they will die from it really needs to come into the quality of life discussion, because I want a passing to be really good, and I want the life up to that passing to be really good. And the ailment they have is going to determine that. So if you have a dog with, let's say, heart disease, how will they die, Evie, from heart disease, from heart failure?
Not a nice way.
It's horrible. They drown in their lung fluid. So the heart can't work well. Their fluid gets backed up in their lungs and they drown. So that conversation is going to be a very different conversation with that family, because we need to make a decision sooner than later. Yeah. We have to talk about where the emergency clinic is, because if it happens at 2:00 in the afternoon and we can't get to them, like we need to know where that is. 2:00 in the evening, or AM actually, right? So in the middle of the night, versus let's say a dog with arthritis, right? So it's a different ailment. Yeah. That's usually not an emergent situation, which also does make this decision harder, which I'll talk about too. So it's used now. If you have a down dog and it's a 80-pound dog, then that's not good. That's the emergent. But we can get them to a clinic. We could suss it out. We can give some medications. They're not dying. They're down. That's the problem. Is they're down. They're not dying, right? So. There's a big difference. What did you call it? I love our turn of phrases are so different.
Off their legs.
Off their legs?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys say down, like that's what we call them. So if they're off their legs.
Yeah.
Right? I want to make sure I'm using the right terms. I love it. So you have a dog that's off their legs. They're not dying usually, right? They're just, there could be some things. I don't want to totally say they're not.
No.
I'm going to get comments about that. But let's say it's arthritis and they're at end stage arthritis. We can still do some stuff. So the ailment the pet has is going to change my quality of life discussion, because you could have a dog with arthritis, but they also have heart disease. Heart disease is going to trump arthritis for how our trajectory is going to be. And the trajectory is going to be either a slow fade, which is normally what arthritis is. It's a slow fade. Yeah. Versus something like heart failure, where it's going to be a crash, and I don't want to crash. No. So anyway, and then like I said earlier, we could be dealing with a ton of things, cognitive dysfunction on top of this, vision, hearing loss, like you name it. I love all the animals. They're just right. But okay, so I went over the pet's personality, the personal beliefs of the family, the ailment, and now the budgets.
Yeah.
So there are 4 budgets in life, and this goes not just for quality of life of a pet, but like everything in life. Number 1 is the monetary budget. So let's just talk about that. Can a family afford the care and treatment of their pet? So sometimes it's not very expensive. It's some bath mats around the floor. It's a harness, like a help them up harness. It's the bed from our sponsors.
Yeah.
I wanted to drop their name, but I forgot. It was Big Barker.
Big Barkers, yeah.
There we go. It could be some medication that's not very expensive, and we could afford that. However, some families can't even afford that, right? They can't afford $50 more a month or $100 or £100 more a month, right? So listen, we all know gas prices are going up, and heating prices are going to go up in the UK. Do you have an extra £100? And they may not have that, right? And depending on the size of the dog, medications get more expensive. So my Doberman had so many things wrong with him. It was £400 a month for all his medications. Like not everybody can afford that. Like I barely could. I just knew we only had 6 months, so like I budgeted. So there's a monetary and can you afford? And it doesn't mean you have to do everything. I want people to not feel guilty if they can't do acupuncture and rehab and laser and all the best drugs. Let's just try our best to make sure they're out of as much pain as possible in our limitations. So there's the monetary budget. Next budget is the physical budget. Can you physically manage this pet? And with arthritis, this is a huge one because they're typically medium to larger breed, size dogs. So it's not going to be easy to always pick them up. And you can't tell, but I'm a giant. I'm 6'1", so I'm very big, and I can lift a lot of big animals. But just because I can doesn't mean that my client can. And it could be somebody with rheumatoid arthritis, and they can't even pick up a 20-pound Sheltie. Forget about a Great Dane. Right? If you physically, for whatever reason, can't handle that, that's not good. And then don't feel guilty if you have a problem where you can't handle it, or if you have a bad back and you can't bend over, right? I actually do. I'll sneeze and my back goes out, right? I'm like, I'll pick up a sock and my back goes out. So, picking up the dog, I know I'm prepped for it, so I'm good. But anyway, and my mother, she had a dog that had severe arthritis, and the dog's name was Angel, and Angel was maybe 40 pounds. She was a low rider. She was like a potato, and Angel was okay. She wasn't great, but she was okay. But Angel also had fecal incontinence. She was going to the bathroom all over the floor. And my mother has severe disabilities. And my mother she could handle Angel. She couldn't get on the ground to pick up her fecal her poop, right? So now my mom is struggling with that. She can't get on the ground to clean up the symptoms that Angel's having. So now my mom's feeling guilty of her own problems to pick this up. Like it's a mind,
Yeah, completely.
Okay, so there's the physical budget. There's another budget. It's the time budget. So do we have time? And on average, the caregiver of a geriatric pet spends 3 hours a day caring for their pet. So getting their food ready, getting their medications ready, refilling them, calling their doctor, cleaning them up with mobility issues. A lot of times you have fecal and urinary incontinence, so you're cleaning up, you're getting the rug cleaner out, you're finding a new bath mat. Like you're walking them, and it's slow walking, and then you got to walk multiple times a day. And with COVID, so many of us, if we could, we started working from home, which was great, but that's not reality.
No.
Evie, when you leave your house in the morning and you go to work, how many hours is it until you get home?
10.
And how many dogs did you say you had?
5.
Okay. Now, you may live on your own. We don't need to get personal. But 10 hours away is a long time. And if you don't have help or somebody to be there, that's maybe not conducive to life for a pet. You may have a doggy door so they can go out. You may have automatic feeders. But what if you live in an apartment and you don't have that option, right? So the time budget is important. People may travel, like, and then boarding is difficult with these guys. Like, okay, the last budget is the emotional budget. And, you know, we got a lot of problems in life on our own.
Yeah.
And then you're managing this. And this could have been the dog that is the last living link to another family member. And you can't imagine saying goodbye. And so you want to wait longer. This also could be the dog that the last dog you had, you waited too long. So you want to do it sooner with this one. This could be the dog that helped you get through a divorce. This could be the dog that slept next to you when you were in chemo. Like, the emotional attachment that we have with our pets is huge. And the emotional crap that we're dealing with in life is huge.
Yeah.
We manage this. So those 4 budgets, if any one of those budgets is up for a family, I'll help them say goodbye. And I think it's time. So if you can't physically handle your dog, but no guilt, I will help you say goodbye. And I think it's really important for everybody to know that, because you're going to get people that say he's not so bad. We also normally hear, oh my gosh, he's so bad. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
And it's none of their business, as long as we can make sure their pet's like feeling, you know, okay, if you will. So I think it's important to do those the buckets, and those are the things that I look for with assessing quality of life. Is, like I said, personality and things like that. And you know, pain is a big problem with arthritis. And what happens also is their threshold gets lowered, right? So if we don't manage their pain well, things that should be benign start to hurt them. So just being pet starts to hurt them, right? So you could pet their shoulders and they're freaking out because their hips hurt, right? You can have a toddler that doesn't know any better and goes up to the big golden retriever that would never hurt a fly, and snap, we've got something going on. We've got to manage the pain better. And that's why I want them to definitely go see their veterinarian. So there's a lot of people that will say, Evie, don't worry, you'll know. Okay, why are we having this Facebook Live? Because we don't know. Okay, like, if you are waiting to seriously know for sure, dare I say, we're waiting for active suffering to be so present that it's obvious.
Yeah.
And do you ever, Evie, want your pets to suffer?
No.
So if you're waiting for this giant sign to say it's time, that sign is massive suffering.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to wait for that sign.
No.
With arthritis, they're going to wag their tails.
Yeah.
They're going to eat their very last day. And I love that.
Yeah.
I want them to have a pizza party and an ice cream party.
Amazing.
Like, it's amazing. So that's the other thing, is people often say, well, when they stop eating, you'll know it's time. Not with arthritis.
I had a dog the other day that the owner literally baked them a big chocolate gatto, because he always tried to steal the chocolate cake. And so as he went to sleep, he literally ate the chocolate gatto. How amazing.
Listen, I want a stack of Oreos when I go, right? Like, I want some friends around me, some Oreos, and some good music. That's how we should go. So if you're waiting for a look, that's not good. What I think is also very helpful, especially with arthritis, and this helped me personally with my dog Sam. So I had a dog named Sam. She was a girl. And she had, I thought she had degenerative myelopathy, which is a mobility issue. And it's not arthritis, but bear with me. She ended up having lymphoma in her spine. So it was a crazy thing. But mobility was her problem, right? And I mean, it was cancer, but it was mobility. And I took great care of her. I mean, she had everything. She was going to rehab. Like, she had a massage person come over. Like, she just got the treatment. And I took a lot of videos of her and Norin all during their time together. They were only together like 2 years. And I was watching this video of the two of them playing. And I thought, that's not even close to Sam anymore.
Yeah.
So watch videos from a year ago or 2 years ago. Look at pictures. You may be able to take off your denial goggles a little bit better. And that was me. I was lifting her everywhere. She was going everywhere. And I looked at that video and I just thought, I'm doing her a disservice, because she's not Sam anymore. Yeah. And as hard as it was, what makes it easier is to see those videos and say, okay, like it was a good time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of quality of life assessment tools available. And you could literally Google quality of life dog, and there's a ton that can come up. On our website, we have a ton. On my website, drmarygardner.com, and in my book, I've got a ton. I've got a journal that's got quality of life assessment. So there's a ton out there, and I really think it's good to do those. And I know it's weird because it's putting a number behind something that's so subjective. You know, it's like, Evie, do you like me?
Yeah.
Put a number on that, right? Like,
yeah.
It is kind of helpful to do that, and you can see the trends. And then what you need to do is draw a line in the sand to say, okay, this tool that I'm using, if I go below 10 in this tool, that's not good. So you'll see the trend, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing I want to suggest, and I know I'm just talking too much. So
no, you're fine. You're fine.
The other thing is, a lot of people will say, "Oh, Evie, when there's more bad days than good, then it's time." Right? I hear that very, very often.
Yeah.
So, a few things on that. One, you got to track it. So don't just say that, right? Because you could say that about anything. Oh, the weather's so good. Like, just because you will have 3 bad days in a row, horrible days, and then all of a sudden they got up on their own.
Yeah.
And you forgot all those 3 bad days, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I ate a piece of turkey. You forgot everything else, right? Yeah. So I want a calendar. I have a calendar on my, Dr. Mary Gardner. Like, I've got a calendar, you put X's on it. So that's the first thing, is to monitor what you're measuring.
Yeah.
Number 2, define what is good. Because what's good to you or bad, right? You're saying good day, bad day.
Yeah.
So with Sam, I had some what is a good day? And she also had cognitive issues. So it's like, all right, I need her to sleep 4 hours. If she sleeps 4 hours straight, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
My partner, heck no. She needs to sleep 7 hours for it to be good.
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay. Like, I'm not mad at him. I'm sleeping in the living room with her, and I'll take 4 hours, right? Yeah. So what is good and what is bad is very different for everybody. And for me, fecal incontinence is not great, but it's not a problem. For him, not good, right? So if she has 4 accidents a day, that's not good.
Yeah.
So I want you to monitor what you're measuring, define what's good and bad, and what is the percentage? So is it 50-50, more good days than bad? Because that's what that means. If 51% is bad, it's time to say goodbye. It may be 70-40, either way, or 70-40. That was bad math, 70-30. I swear I am a doctor. Yeah. I don't just play one on Facebook. So you have to define it, right? And say, okay, 30% bad is some people don't even want 30% bad. Yeah. So it's so much more. It is so much more than just saying you'll know when it's time, when they stop eating, more good days than bad. Like, we do a disservice. I have a 45-minute conversation with everybody. Like, this is big.
And I think time is a massive thing. Time, and not making someone feel rushed, because you need.
This is the biggest decision they're ever going to make.
Yeah, exactly. And the worst thing that you want someone to feel is like, oh God, well, I don't know if I was ready, and my dog's just gone now.
Right. I want them to feel, I don't want any regrets either direction, too soon or too late. No. And I will always say that it will always seem too soon until it's too late. Yeah. It will always, because you want every last moment. I remember I had this one dog, Sarissa was her name, and she was a Samoyed. And so I euthanized her, and she was, she has still had good days and, things like that. So I had gone to a pet loss support group, and because I wanted to, it was in my area, and I'm like, you know what, if I'm telling people to go to this, I should go and check it out. Yeah. So I went, and they said, oh, Dr. Mary, share your story. So I shared my story, and there was like maybe 10 people there, and one woman had been going for a year for her pet, like, no judgment. She was there for a year. So I said, she was still having some good days, but blah. And so she says, you stole good days from your pet. Like, she was so mean to me. And I'm like, and she's like, how dare you take away good days? And I said, and I'm trying not to be, reactive. I just said, I could totally see where you're coming from, but what I did do is I took away bad days from ever happening. And that's what I have to concentrate on, is all the bad days that she was having, she never had another one. And my veterinary oath here in the United States is to not only stop suffering, but prevent it from ever occurring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, I talked a lot. I'm sorry, Evie.
Oh no, it's fine. It's great. I love everything you've got to say. It's great. It's really interesting.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I think it is. Everyone has their line of, and you don't know what's going on in other people's lives.
No judgment.
You
can't have judgment. And I say that for friends, family, stuff like that. If you go into, especially with, the holidays are coming up, and there's this theory that there's more euthanasias during holidays, right? And because what happens is we either need to go on a trip and we have to euthanize our pet because it's time, and it just, or people come from out of town and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing, right? Or we're waiting for somebody to come out of town to say goodbye, and now they've come and said goodbye, and so now we're saying goodbye. But it's so hard when people come over. Like, I didn't have people come over when I had Sam for the last 6 months because I didn't want to hear it like from them.
No.
None of your business. She's fine. Take care of her.
Yeah.
She's okay.
And that's what we don't want clients to feel. We don't want clients to feel like they're going to be judged, so they don't come in. And then, like you said, it's too late.
No, and you know what? Even if somebody never sees me and they only see me for euthanasia, there does nothing good for me to judge them at that point, right? I just want to tell people, gosh, what you guys can do, what we can do as veterinary staff to help our pets beforehand is gold. And it might even be, with hospice, I'll get people that contact us for hospice, and I'll go to their house and they're like, Mary, look at this giant pile of medical records. This is everything I'm doing. They just want to make sure that they didn't forget something, right? They want my opinion. And I'm like, nope, you've done it all. I can't tell you anything. Let's make a bucket list. Like, and that's all I'm doing with them. And it's fun. So. No,
it is. I think also talking about the bucket list and things like that, I know some practices in the UK do things like senior clinics or memory clinics, where they've started getting like a group of senior dogs in, like we have puppy classes.
Yes, I love that.
And you do like paw prints, or you speak to other people about what they're doing, and just speaking to other people and making it.
I can't handle it, paw prints.
I love it. Just making it an okay thing to talk about.
100%.
In our practice, we've got a memory tree. So we've got a branch which we send out hearts in our euthanasia cards, and the owner has the chance to write a little message to their pet and come in and pop it on the memory tree.
I have chills again. Like, it's so good. And bucket lists don't have to be some amazing thing. There's one family of mine, and I have it in my book. It was Edie's bucket list, and it's literally like find a new park and take a walk. Like nothing. Steak dinner, a steak dinner, breakfast in bed with dad. And then one of them lay in the sun. Like, it's just stuff like that, right? Like it's for my boy Duncan, he was a big Doberman, and he had a LARPAR, a disease that can also affect their mobility. And I'm like, peeing in the neighbor's plants, check. Wasn't much, right? Chasing someone off his property, check. So this Edie's bucket list, they also had bonus ride in a fire truck, and they brought her to the firehouse and they put her in the truck, and they took pictures of all of it, and it was just like, it doesn't take away the sorrow, but it does help a little bit with the happiness of what we have, and also helps with no regrets. Like, I'm so glad Duncan got to pee in the neighbor's plants one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Little things.
Little things.
That's amazing. So we've got a couple of comments
coming
through. We've got a big one here. So I've got 2 dogs that are now disabled. It's so much hard work now picking up poop and wee accidents weekly. Hydrotherapy, treadmill, massage, laser, exercises. I also suffer with arthritis and in pain, so I know what pain they're going through, but I don't know what to do as they're 15 and 10. And I find myself there still eating and drinking, but when I look at pictures and recent pictures, they look so sad and old, but it broke my heart to put them to sleep.
This is so like Denise, I get it, right? And so and they're disabled, so that is a lot of work on her, and she herself has arthritis, right? Like it's hard. And I mean, even towards the end, Sam was almost disabled, like completely, and the fecal incontinence. I learned how to fecally stimulate her so that way I could make her go to the bathroom like at certain times, because that was super helpful. But it will always tear it there. I have no magic bullet that says, no magic ball or anything that says this is how to make it not hurt.
Yeah.
It will always hurt. That they have dug their little, holes in our hearts.
Completely.
But what we need to do is honor the promise we made to them.
Yeah.
We made a promise to take care of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that may mean that we have to suffer so they do not.
Yeah.
And I think that is how I pillow my head at night with my own babies. I will cry the house down. I don't even want anybody near me, even when I say goodbye. My own pets. I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
I cry, and I still, like, just the other day I saw something of Sam's and I started crying again. It's been a year and a half, right? Yeah. But I know I made a promise to her to take care of her, and even if that means say goodbye, and it stinks. And I'm so, like, I empathize, and my heart goes out to you. But you know what? I want take as many pictures and videos, because you can't have enough of them. The other thing I also want to suggest, and I know this may sound a little cheesy, but it's not, and that is to say I love you every day to your pet. Like, intentionally say I love you.
Yeah.
Because if they die, and if they die on their own, or like, you will always wish you told them that one more time.
Yeah.
And I lost two animals one died without me, and the other was taken by a coyote. And they're the ones I still struggle with, because I wasn't there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't you realize with natural passing, you're not there. And I would like to be there, and I don't judge people who can't be there, but I want to hold their paw and say thank you for protecting me from the mail, right? Like, I want to be there. I want to give them the ice cream treat and stuff like that. And when they die on their own, you come home and you find them gone. It's work. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's probably more questions. I'll be quiet now.
Yeah. I think also you need to remember that a lot of people we get come in and they'll be crying, or they'll be saying I love you to them, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, don't apologize. Don't.
Okay. So let me tell you a quick story. So I thank you for saying, I have this in my book too. So there's people will say two things to their pets.
Yeah.
They will either tell their pets, I'm sorry, like during a euthanasia, like, watch this, you'll see this. And I hate that. Yeah. You gave the best love to these pets. Like, don't take guilt that should not be yours in the first place. Yeah. Instead, the other thing that people say, and that's what I want people to say, is thank you. Like, thank you, Duncan, for protecting me from the Goodyear Blue or whatever, right? Thank you for protecting me. Like, say thank you. And I helped this family who's from Germany. I was living in California. They were from Germany, and they were just this beautiful house with curtains flowing, and everybody was all wearing beautiful outfits. Anyway, so there's the dog named Scooby, and he had arthritis. Yeah. And Scooby was sedating, and the little kid said, "Danke, Scooby, danke."
Oh, God.
I lost it, right? Yeah. And that's what I want. I'm like, that's right, man. Like, thank you, Scooby. Like, if you say you're sorry, we have some regrets, and let's not have those.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And do what you've got to do. When my dog died, I literally went to sleep with his collar around my wrist for probably months. Completely irrational, but it was what
not irrational, right? That's a society saying this. What is rational or irrational, right? Yeah. Like, I have a stack of urns right there. Some people would say that's irrational, right? Well, I don't care, right? But for Sam, when she passed, I euthanized her on Valentine's Day, and so I think it was a Sunday. It doesn't matter. It was like at 5:00 in the afternoon. Well, I kept her until the next day, until 10, until I brought her to the crematory myself. And people are like, you kept her body there? I'm like, nothing's happening to her. Like, it's fine. I put a beautiful blanket. Her little head was out, and nothing happened to her. And so that's okay if you want to spend an extra night with your pet in the house. Like, it's not irrational to do some of these things. And it's also totally fine if you're like, I had a great life with that pet, and now I'm going to honor him by going and adopting another one. And I'm sad, but I'm moving. Like, it's okay. We all grieve so differently.
Yeah, completely. Got another one here. So does my first dog. So I've met I'm done on the area, and I've talked to my vets and physio and said make sure I do what's best for quality of life. I won't like it, but I'll get past it eventually.
You're not dumb on this area. It's your first timer. That's it. And I think all these little tools that I talked about will be super helpful to you. And and also talk to your veterinarian about what to expect when the euthanasia happens. Where it's very different in the UK, in the US, we do different things, but it's good for you to prep and understand, because some people if it's your first time, you might be scared of it. And I don't want you to be scared of the euthanasia. Everyone thinks we're stopping their heart and like it's horrible, and it's not. It is very peaceful.
Cam's also got a book about when it's time to say goodbye. And it basically goes through everything that happens in the vet. So from putting the catheter in their leg and putting the tape round, and what to expect and what you can do with the body afterwards.
I think it's good. I think it's good, and I love that. I think everybody should ask their vet, because every vet does things different, right? Like me, I don't tape in a catheter. I do a butterfly catheter, right? So somebody's gonna be like, "Well, Evie said she's gonna tape it," right? So there's a few things that I will always require all of our vets to do, but not everybody does that, and so it's always good to just understand and understand. Can I have other people present? Can I bring my other dog with me? Like, can I have a party? Can I have it at my house? Can we do it in the park? Can we do it in your clinic? All these questions you should ask. And it's just, you ask it and then you put it away.
Yeah. And even if people wanted to come in a week, a month before and have it all planned, why not? Come and do it.
Not?
Nurses are there to speak to you. If you want to speak to your vet, that's fine. Then,
Oh, but the nurses are great. The nurses can talk about all of this, right?
Yeah.
I've literally been to parties. And it's awesome. One party was for Jupiter. It was a Mastiff, and he had arthritis. Oh, and we all had Hawaiian leis on and margaritas. Like, it was amazing. Like, it was the best vet visit I ever had.
Oh, I had a euthanasia that was really memorable to me. Was this elderly lady, and she had this little toy poodle sat on her lap, and they'd been for a lovely walk together on the beach, where she'd scattered her husband's ashes, and obviously it was a whole thing of letting him go again. And we had gin and tonics in the sun in the garden.
I love that.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And and that's where I love, like, because we could go to the homes or we go to beaches, and it could be somewhere that's special. But and also if you can't be present, or like if somebody's out of town, you could FaceTime or Skype. Your vet will be fine if you're Skyping in, if you're traveling. And I had to do that once with one of my cats. I was traveling and she got acute kidney failure. And I said, I need to FaceTime when we say goodbye. So.
Yeah, completely. Definitely.
Got another question?
So we all know our pets, but it's hard when you see a dog that's being kept going for the owner's sake. It's so hard to say goodbye, but we owe it to them not to let them suffer.
Yeah. So Hills, I don't know if she's in the industry, like a veterinarian or a technician or something like that. And this, a lot of veterinarians and nurses ask me about this. Like, what about those pets that are the one that I said in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, we have to let them go?
Yeah.
Because some people could be on denial island and not helping them, and that is hard.
Yeah.
So there's for me, we need to medicate those pets.
Yeah.
What do we do in humans? Right? Like, we don't just let somebody lay there without medicine. Like, we don't have euthanasia in humans. So what do? Morphine, good drugs. Like, we must provide that for our pets. If you're struggling with euthanasia, or there are some religious beliefs or personal beliefs that don't believe in euthanasia. Yeah. So, like, then you better be ready to medicate your pet really well. And I'll be an advocate for that. And why not? Like, listen, I want my Oreos.
Yeah, exactly. I want ice cream and gin, and then I'll be fine.
I know. People are going to be like, Evie and Mary are all about gin and more. No, we're just keeping it real.
Yeah.
That was a good comment, though, Hills. Thank you.
Definitely. So what are your thoughts on including other family dogs? Any hints, suggestions for that?
Okay, so thank you, Christine. This is a great question. I think on average, I love it when other pets are present. It's something weird and magical happens that I have no way to scientifically prove like what happens, but everybody calms down, the other pets calm down, they all come together. Like it's very weird in a beautiful way. If you have though a dog that's and you're going to your veterinary clinic and the other dog, the partner dog, and they're anxious and they're whiny and they don't like the clinic, leave them at home because I think they're going to distract the experience. But if they're just, cool. Now, I have seen some dogs sniff the pet when they've passed. I know some pets have more cats and dogs can mourn in their own little ways. I've also seen a dog just walk over their partner that has passed and like go to the food bowl, like no big deal, right? Like, and then I've had owners like dragging them back, like smell them, right? So let them be. It's same thing with kids. I love kids being out of euthanasia. They say the most amazing things. They want to get involved in everything. I'll let them do the paw print, like listen to the heart. They want to be a part of it. And then there are some that don't, but they watch me from a corner, and they're watching me. And I think animals and kids are very similar. Like let them be present unless they're going to be a distraction to the experience.
Yeah, definitely. And also helping with the grieving process for both.
It helps the pet, I think, with the grieving process. What also helps is the owners. They have something still with them, right? So there was a study done maybe a few years ago where they trained, I think it was Shelties or Collies or something, a Collies, I think it was, and they trained them to sit still in a CT machine. And they put different scents in front of them, and the first scent that lit the pleasure center of their head was the scent of the owner. So always have like something that smells like you nearby. The second scent to light up the pleasure center of a dog's brain is the scent of their buddy. So so take the collar of the one pet that's passed, put it on the other pet, put it near don't just wash the beds really quickly. Like let the scent be there. I mean, I'm like you, I'm smelling the collar of my own animals.
And we've got another question. So I'm sorry I missed the beginning. Did you address euthanasia at the vet versus at home? I prefer to be at home where it's quiet and we're full-time travellers, and my fear is being in a country where I need to be at the vet. How can I make this situation better for my dog?
So Sheila, great question. My company, all we do is in the home. I personally prefer it in the home myself, like unless it's an emergency. If your pet is suffering, best option is to bring them to a clinic as fast as you can. However, if you want to have it in the home, it is something you need to plan. And what I said in the beginning is that so many families call us same day. They need us same day. And I don't know about you, Evie, but are you free today? Like, right? So it's better if you can plan it. And that's what knowing in advance, doing quality life assessments, you can say, you know what, I think we got this week and that's it. And then we'll make a plan. So I don't know about legalities in all different countries because, we are taking medications that are, have certain legal, hiccups to get through and gymnastics. So some people may not be able to leave their clinic wall to go to a home with these drugs. So it just depends. But, there are many clinics in the or practices in the United Kingdom that do in-home euthanasia. So it's and ask your vet. You should ask your vet if they offer it, but most can't. Like, or when I worked in general practice, I only went to 2 people to their homes, and that was like one was a friend and one was just because I felt really bad. But I worked 10 hours a day, and then I had to go to somebody's house. Like it's just not feasible. So, but ask your veterinarian if they do, and if not, who they recommend, because they totally recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think if you are traveling, what I said to a couple of my clients is email practices where you're going to be staying near and find out in advance what they offer. And even, again, it's planning.
It's planning, and also a weird place to call, but it's not so weird. And I own my own pet crematory also, is call a local crematory beforehand because they know who can go to the home. So I know all my in-home people that are in my area as a crematory. So that's just another option too.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good one as well, because a lot of people are now traveling with their pets.
Yeah, no, I know.
And I mean, being based in Cornwall, we get a lot of people come down here during the summer, and a lot of people are like, "Oh God, we weren't expecting it," and it's just complete shock.
Correct. Right.
Which again is a little bit of denial in some cases.
Listen, I was mayor of Denial Island, so no judgment.
Yeah, no. And so again, it's just thinking practically about it and not feeling embarrassed. We don't judge when you ring up and want to talk about it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Cool. If anyone else has any questions, we can answer a few more. Is there anything else that you would like to?
Oh, well, I think I've covered all my points that I like to cover. There is a lot, and not every doctor is very good at certain things, right? Like I am not good at orthopedic surgery.
Yeah.
Don't call me if you want questions on that, right? Like no, but I'm very good at this. I mean it humbly. And so it's okay also if your veterinarian is not the best at this conversation, find one that is.
Yeah.
And that's why with our tele-advice, like it's all across the United States and it's in areas that we don't cover, our service, but families call in. We help about 300 families a month just with tele-advice on this conversation. Yeah. So find someone that does want to have this conversation. Like you guys are great at it. That's not the norm. No. So like, I'm so thankful that you guys had this Facebook Live because people kind of need to know about it. And there's a lot of great information out there. People just don't know to search for it, right? So
yeah, exactly. And I know in anyone in the UK, the Blue Cross do a lot of good stuff on euthanasia and like post euthanasia support. Nice. Which is always good to be there. Someone's just asked, can you repeat the 4 budgets, please?
Yes, Miss Mandy. So the first one is the obvious one. It's the monetary budget. So what can you financially afford? The second is the physical budget. So with arthritis is the big deal for managing them, their incontinence if they have it, like things like that. Number 3 is the time budget, and number 4 is the emotional budget. Do you have emotional, to deal with this? And you know what? This is not just with quality life. It's for everything. I'm trying to sell my house, and my realtor's like, I think you should really repaint the living room. And I don't got it. I am emotionally done. I'm physically done. Yeah. If they don't like beige, I don't care. And we're spending so much money on everything else. No. So I kind of use those budgets for many things in life, but those are. And it's okay. Do not feel guilty if you don't have the time that you can't. My dog Duncan, every 4 hours I had to let him out because he was on heart meds and he was in the house. And who can come home every 4 hours? Like it's
exactly.
And not everybody can afford a pet sitter to come over every 4 hours.
No.
Like so don't put on that guilt. And I always say, I can't be in charge of why I euthanize, but I can be in charge of how. And every one of you can be in charge of how the last day is. Yeah. And that's what I want. I want it to be a beautiful, respectful passing for our pets.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a really nice comment. I need more of you in the world, Mary. Thank you also for all your work with laryngeal paralysis. New to my nearly 16-year-old boy with LP, 3 years post-tieback. Thanks.
Yay, Karen! Oh, she must know me from somewhere else. I'm a big gulp LARPar, I don't want to say fan because I don't love the disease, but I'm big with the LARPar group.
Yeah.
And that's a 16-year-old dog that had a tieback when she was 13, and so many people would say it's too old.
I mean, yeah.
So, if they're doing good, go get it because it's a lifesaver. So, yay, Karen, thank you. I love it.
This has been so insightful and supportive. Thanks to you both. Also, thanks to all the vets, nurses, and staff that support us all on these journeys.
Oh, yes. Yeah. There's some of us that really understand the importance of this final journey and really embrace it. And I can't say I specialize in it because there's not a specialty thing in it, but it is something that I love ushering families through this time.
Yeah.
And helping them, because if I could make it an inch better, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
And look at my dog. He's like snoring through this whole thing.
Bless him. Bless him. Well, thank you so much for spending your time this evening to tell us some facts and helping people, hopefully, that just needed a bit of help making this decision or are close to. So thank you very much, and thank you everyone for listening. We have another Facebook Live tomorrow night. Hannah is interviewing Amy Hesback, so that will be very lovely to watch. So hope to see you all again tomorrow evening at 7:30. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.